he's been for the past few weeks. He's basically run simchas in this house non-stop, and my bracha to him is that he should continue to do that and always have tremendous amount of simcha and bracha in this house. Amen. I'd like to thank all the people who are mishtativ in this beautiful event, and the bar is open, as our burger said, so please help yourself if you'd like. I just want, again, Rabbi Shapiro is in a hurry, so Baruch Hashem, he acquiesced to speak. So even though this time he's only going to speak for a few short times, he doesn't know yet, but for the next Siyum Hashem, he's going to be speaking for much longer. So without further ado, I want to introduce Rabbi Shapiro to please say a few words.
Firstly, a tremendous mazel tov. Thank you to the Berger Mishpacha for opening their home. I spoke last night in Woodmere, and it was in a beautiful, beautiful Woodmere Lawrence home. And I started with a very strong sentence that there's a tremendous difference between a house and a home. No one should ever be impressed by a house. And I'm comfortable saying that in houses that are worth perhaps tens of millions of dollars. A house you'd have to be crazy to be jealous of. A home you should be jealous of. Because a home is a place where a person understands you open it for Torah, for Avodah, for Chesed, to help a fellow Yid. So I give you the bracha taka, and I think I'm going to be here Friday night as well to speak. So I told Maharaj to stay here so many times. Kenai Nahara. The Mishnah says that Yehi Beischa Pasuach Lervacha, which literally means your home should be open for relief. I think it's the Baal Shem who says, Yehi Beischa Pasuach, if you're smart enough to have an open home, Lirvacha, it'll bring you and your family Revach and Gesund. So a house, meaningless. A home is where it's at. So we're grateful that we're in the Berger home. And Be'ezus Hashem, you should be zeichet to host many such wonderful things. Of course, a tremendous mazel tov to all the Loimdei Daf HaYomi, the Messiahim, Bava Basra. And I want to thank Yedid Nafshi, V'Rav Chavivi, Rabbi Wakshal, Rabbi Avram Shimon, for giving me the opportunity. I didn't know next time was going to be longer, but when Avi tells you to do something, it's you pretty much, your two choices are yes or yes. So I saw a few weeks ago when I was going through a sugya in Megillah, a Meirdik Avart from Rabbi Yankiv. Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky says a Meirdik Avart, and I think it's a Gevaldig Upteich in Daf HaYomi. Obviously, there are many things that you hear again and again that people who learn Daf HaYomi accomplish. There's the Timidius, we've spoken out that Maral countless times, Carbon Tamid, Echad, and two of that. There's many things that accomplishes. But I thought the following was a Maridik Knech from Rabbi Yankiv. Rabbi Yankiv comments that it's based on the Gemara we had it actually recently in Rashi and Chumash a couple weeks ago, and then it's the Gemara, I believe it's in Yazayin in Megillah, that the reason why Yishmael's years are reckoned is that you should find the 14 missing years by Yaakov Avinu. What were the 14 missing years? From 63 to 77. And those 14 years he was in the yeshiva of Aver, Shem and Aver, and then he faced his 20 plus years by Lavan. One has to wonder, why did he need those 14 years to be Lamed Torah in the yeshiva Shem Aver? You think the 63 years that he was by his father, he wasn't involved in learning? I'm sure all he did in the home by Yitzchak Avinu was in Gansen. He was a Reingeton in learning Keseder. So what does Rashi mean? And the Gemara speaks it out in great detail. He needed those 14 years. Why? Every added amount of learning is something that can't be calculated. But it's almost as if without those 14 years he couldn't have faced the vicissitudes of Lavan. But what do you mean? He had learning in the most holy, Kaddish, Dehayb environment by Yitzchak for 63 years. So what did he need the other 14 years for? As if without that he couldn't face Lavan. So Rabbi Yankiv says, and I didn't realize it's a famous Yisoid. I actually just spoke to him about the Yisoid. And he says, yes, about Vus the Yisoid, we're mamish knocking the Yisoid. The Torah that he learned in the home of Yitzchak for 63 years was one type of Torah. It was, like I said a minute ago, in a very sheltered, Dehayben, Kaddish, pure environment. that Torah, or that type of Torah per se, would not have been able to help Yaakov Avinu face a Lavan and his shenanigans and his ramayas and his wickedness. I don't mean that Torah ever changes, a new type. But the type of Torah that he would learn by Shem and Aver, that would be entirely different. Because Shem and Aver, they were people who went through the Dar HaMabel. They were people who went through the Dar HaFlaga. They knew what Rishaya meant. They knew what unscrupulous, unhealthy, wicked, impure people meant. He had to learn that type of Torah, says Rabbi Yankiv. It was called the Torah of the Golus. Avada he learned by his father for 63 years by Yitzchak Avinu. But that type of Torah per se would not have been the type that could have adequately prepared him for a Lavan and the Ramayas and the Rishas and all of the terrible things that Lavan and the trickery that he represented. And that's what Rashi and the Gemara means. He needed 14 years specifically with that type of Torah learning, a different type of Torah. But of course the Torah doesn't change. But this type of Torah learning, where you learn under Shem and Aver, who went through a Dar HaMabel and a Dar HaFlaga, and they are very well accustomed to what Rishayim and tricky and unhealthy and unscrupulous and impure people are about. That type of Torah learning was the only type, the type that was needed to prepare him for the vicissitudes of living by Lavan approximately for 20 years. Rabbi Yankiv speaks about it very strongly, and he brings kama v'kama rayas to this idea. You find the Torah that Yosef had, that Yaakov had, he taught to Yosef. Yaakov is Mosef. But sure, Rashi says, but surely he taught Torah to all of his children. But he had to teach it specifically to Yosef, this type of Torah, because he knew that Yosef was going to be in the most immoral, debased, and decadent society like Mitzrayim. And Yosef remained with such a meiredik tzidkus, able to withstand this Nisyanis, not the least of us was Ezer Potiphar, and you find that Yosef in turn gave that to Ephraim and Menashe, which is why we give our children a bracha many on Friday night, to be like Ephraim and Menashe, because they were able to remain. It's Mamish a Hemshech Hadoros. Ephraim and Menashe got it from Yosef, who got it from Yaakov, who got it from Shem ve'Aver. And it had to be specifically prepared with that type of Torah to be able to withstand the onslaught of a Lavan. When I was thinking about Daf HaYomi, and I'm really in awe and have the greatest respect and admiration, and I think I was told, I don't know, is Jason Hacherman in the room? So I think you're going to, Be'ezus Hashem, be making the Siyum, and it's the first one, as I heard, and that's incredible. When I was on the tour with Rebelli Stefanski, we spoke about you, and it was a very, very exceptional experience. I'm so happy for you, and you should be zeicha to finish Shas Bavli and Yerushalmi, Be'ezus Hashem. Amen. But when I was thinking about the Loim de Daf Yomi, besides all of the obvious things that it does, the Timidius, and it brings everyone, and it raises the esteem in the eyes of the wife and the husband and the children, all that is 100% true. I think, though, this added Nakuda might be the most choshev in Nakuda. We taka live in a Golus, maybe like they were faced with the Dar HaMabel and the Dar HaFlag and Lavan. Maybe our Golus is all of that together. Taka, we're approaching now, I think it's the B'nai, I just remember now the B'nai Yissaschar says it. I'm sorry, I won't be March, I'll end with this B'nai Yissaschar. I just remember the B'nai Yissaschar, I hope I'm saying it correctly. The B'nai Yissaschar says that if you take a look at the different Goliaths that we've been in, Rabbi, maybe we even spoke about it, I think he says, I'm quoting correctly, I just remembered it now, that in Mitzrayim, this is a good uptight and a way to end, that in Mitzrayim it was an attack against our nefesh. This is what I've been speaking about the last 10 minutes. Clearly when it came to Purim, it was an attack on our guf, Lahashman Hargul Abed Kol Yudim. When it came to Chanukah, that was an attack on our seichel. I happen to have had this chus today. I finished. It went to print 3 o'clock for next week for the Inyan. A very, very, I think, a nice article based on a Meshech Chochmah and some of my father's Torah next week about Tzaka Kedai, and I just remembered it now. I just Mamish went to print today. It says there's a Bavusta Chedusha Irim, Timu, that they were Metame the Shemen, Tame the Shemen in the Heichal. So the Chedusha Irim says, but what do you mean? Why are you finding Shemen in the Heichal? Shemen wasn't found in the Heichal, it was a special room. So the Chedusha Irim says Shemen doesn't mean just actual oil. Shemen means the Jewish thought. And Heichal is the Mayach. Heichal is the Jewish values and ideals. The Yevonim wanted to attack the Seichel, and the Yevonim wanted to attack our Jewish sanctity and pure way of thinking. That's why my father says in Al-Anisim, we say, Lahadlik Neris b'chatzos kashecha. What are you doing b'chatzos kashecha? You weren't madik Neris in the chatzeros, it was inside in the Heichal. Because he said every person is their own chotzer. Every person has their own chotzer, their own home. When the Chashmonaim defeated the Yevonim, it was misakin every person's personal chotzer. And every person has to wonder, how are they doing in their own personal chotzer? So Chanukah was attacking against our seichel, as I told you when it came to Purim, it was attacking against our guf. And when it came to Mitzrayim, was attacking against our nefesh. Today he says it's the whole enchilada. Today, it's a graisa pachad. So the Bnei Yissaschar says that's the letters on the dreidel. On the dreidel you have a nun, a gimel, a shin, and a hey. The nun stands for nefesh, the attack in Mitzrayim. The gimel stands for guf, the attack in Purim. The shin stands for seichel, the attack with Chanukah. And the hey stands for hakol. Hakol. Today's everything. And Yitaka spin the dreidel because the Rashi Tevos of Nefesh and Guf and Seichel and Akol, the Nun is B'Gematria 358. And Nochosh is 358 and Mashiach is 358. And I spoke out last week of Meshech Chochmah. There used to be clarity what was right and what was wrong. And the Nochosh created the Erbuvia, which is why the Gomel wasn't mentioned when he sent it. Because the Shor has both Simani Tahara, the Chamor has neither, and the Gomel's 1 and 1. You're either kosher or you're not kosher. I'm not talking to you about a Gomel, because a Gomel is 1 and 1, and that Erbuvia is the Nachash. And we have to spin the dreidel to make the Nachash into Mashiach, where there's clarity. And I hope that's one of the greatest accomplishments of Daf HaYomi. When there is a world out there where the entertainment and the lure and the Rachmana Litzlan is like the Bnei Yissaschar says, not against our nefesh or guf or seichel, but hakol, it's everything. It's the Dara Mabul, it's the Dara Flog, it's the Esav, it's Yishmael, it's Lavan, it's the whole kit and caboodle. Not just any type of Torah can counter that. A Daf Yomi type of Torah can counter that. Because a Daf Yomi type of Torah creates a unity and a vivaciousness and people mamish becoming close and family, etc. It's that type of Torah, I believe, that one of the greatest accomplishments of the Daf Yomi type, or being able to make the Siyumim, is that it creates a type like the type that Yaakov had in Beis Shem Ve'ever to counter Lavan. I hope, Ezras Hashem, that in a very impure world where there's tak and attack, not against just the nefesh or the guf or the seichel, but akol, it's everything. We're approaching now again the Yevonim. They want it to be metamish shmonim shebeheichel, our way of thinking. We're each our own chotzer. We each have our ability. Remember that Meshech Chochmah I told you. Want to talk to me about Shar and Chamar? I'll talk to you. There's Toiv and Ra. The Nachash, he says, created their buvia of the Gomel, and that's why I made a mistake in the tape. The Gomel was sent, but the Gomel was not said in the message. I don't want to talk about her buvia. We either know it's right or it's wrong. Don't start mixing and blurring and blending. I put in the article, that is the fatal error for Klal Yisrael. Daf HaYomi helps a person retain the geschmack, the vivaciousness, and the purity which is so needed in the Golos today. I hope, Ezras Hashem, that we're able to spin the dreidel, that it should be the 358 of Mashiach Tzidkeinu, and everyone here should be zeicha to continue making a sach siyumim together. Gesundheit. Mazel tov.